Shalom, my name is Adam, and I welcome you to the parable of the vineyard. Every day, Yahuah is waking up a remnant, a group of people who are coming out of deceptions, realizing our walk is to consist of faith and obedience to his righteous commands. Each week, we read through and examine a portion of the Torah, allowing the Spirit of the Most High to guide, teach, and open our eyes and ears to the wondrous matters out of his law. Join us as we seek to be refined by his word, preparing ourselves for the return of our King of Kings, being faithful and obedient, walking in his way, truth, and life. Shalom and welcome, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Parable of the Vineyard YouTube Torah portion live stream readings. My name is Adam and I welcome you. This is week 8, Vayishlach, and what is it? And he sent, which is Genesis 32:4 through 36:43. A lot to cover in here. We have a really interesting part where Jacob wrestles with the angel. You have the reconciliation with Esau. You have the terrible incident at Shechem with Dinah, the sister of the or the daughter of Yaakov, and we have the death of Rachel. So, a lot to go over, as I say every week. So, before we get started, though, let's do a quick prayer and let's get this gathering started. Heavenly Father, Yahuah, we just come before you in Yahusha's name, and we just thank you for the ability to gather together like this to study your word. We pray that you, because we know that you are the revealer of wisdom and understanding, we pray that you give us understanding with your word, open our eyes to the wondrous matters out of your Torah, that we may grow, we may hear your word, hearken to it, and be obedient to what you say. We love you, we bless you, in Yahusha's name, amen. All right, so let's get into it, and we're actually going to start with Jasher, chapter 31, 64 through 77. This is kind of something that happens in between last Torah portion and this week. Just the beauty of reading Jasher and some of these other books is we get to fill the gaps of kind of like, the whole story, because, the Torah is, for some people, the Torah is long already as it is. So can you imagine if Yahuah had every single detail put into the Torah? it would be 3 times, 4 times as long as it already is right now. Actually, probably way longer than that if you put every detail in there. But any case, let's go. Let's not dilly-dally. Okay, we're gonna go with Jasher 31, 64 through 77. And again, what this is doing is fitting the gap in between what happened last week and now. And if just in case you weren't with us last week, what we ended with is when Jacob and Laban, when Laban came to take out Yaakov because he left unawares, and his images, his idols were stolen by Rachel, which he didn't find. They made a covenant because Laban had a dream where Yahuah told him, don't touch him, don't say good or bad to Yaakov, he's mine. And Laban was like, all right. So Laban told Yaakov, he's like, let's make a covenant, let's make a truce here. And they did. And what we found out in the book of Jasher is as soon as Laban left, he sent some of his messengers to go to Esau, because in his, what we read from the text was, what we could have assumed from the text was that Laban was like, oh, we made a covenant, I can't harm him, but that doesn't mean Esau can't harm him. So he went and let Esau know all the things that Yaakov had done. And and he lied, of course, as well, saying that he took his daughters by force and all these other kind of things. But so that's where we left off, and now we're going to see how Esau reacted when Laban's messengers told him all these things. So And Esau heard all the words of Laban's messengers, and his anger was greatly kindled against Yaakov, and he remembered his hatred, and his anger burned within him. And Esau hastened and took his children and servants and the souls of his household, being 60 men, and he went and assembled the children of Seir, the Horite, and their people, being 340 men, and took all this number of 400 men with drawn swords, and he went unto Yaakov to smite him. And Esau divided this number into several parts, and he took the 60 men of his children and servants and the souls of his household as one head, and gave them in care of Eliphaz his eldest son. And the remaining heads he gave to the care of the 6 sons of Seir the Horite, and he placed every man over his generations and children. And the whole of this camp went as it was, and Esau went amongst them toward Yaakov, and he conducted them with speed. And Laban's messengers departed from Esau and went to the land of Canaan. And they came to the house of Rebekah, the mother of Yaakov and Esau. And they told her, saying, Behold, thy son Esau has gone against his brother Yaakov with 400 men, for he heard that he was coming, and he has gone to make war with him, and to smite him, and to take all that he has. And Rebekah hastened and sent 72 men from the servants of Yitzchak to meet Yaakov on the road, for she said, Peradventure Esau may make war in the road when he meets him. And these messengers went on the road to meet Yaakov, and they met him in the road of the brook on the opposite of the side of the brook Yabok. And Yaakov said, when he saw them, This camp is destined to me from Elohim. And Yaakov called the name of that place Machanaim. And Yaakov knew all his father's people, and he kissed them and embraced them and came with them. And Yaakov asked them concerning his father and mother, and they said, They are well. And these messengers said unto Yaakov, Rebekah thy mother has sent us unto thee, saying, I have heard, my son, that thy brother Esau has gone forth against thee on the road with men from the children of Seir the Horite. And therefore, my son, hearken to my voice, and see with counsel that thou wilt do. And when he cometh up to thee, supplicate him, and do not speak rashly to him, and give him a present from what thou possessest, and from what Elohim has favored thee with. And when he asketh thee concerning thy affairs, conceal nothing from him. Perhaps he may turn from his anger against thee, and thou wilt thereby save thy soul, and all belongeth to thee. For it is thy duty to honor him, for he is thy elder brother. And when Yaakov heard the words of his mother, which the messengers had spoken to him, Yaakov lifted up his voice and wept bitterly, as did his mother then commanded him. Yeah. Okay, so basically, this is kind of letting you have a full understanding as to how Esau even knew Yaakov was coming, because it is kind of interesting that out of nowhere Esau shows up with 400 men, like as if, this is thousands of years ago. How did Esau know, right? How did Esau know Yaakov was coming from Laban's house back home? It's because, somebody came and told him, and this is what we found out here. So, all right, let's get into chapter 32, and we actually have the reading from the Word Audio Project, and so we will listen in with that.
Bereshit, Genesis, chapter 32. And Yaakov went on his way, and the angels of Elohim met him. And when Yaakov saw them, he said, This is Elohim's host. And he called the name of that place Machanaim. And Yaakov sent messengers before him to Esau his brother unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, Thus shall you speak unto my lord Esau. Your servant Yaakov says thus, I have sojourned with Laban, and stayed there until now. And I have oxen and asses, flocks, and men servants, and women servants. And I have sent to tell my lord that I may find grace in your sight. And the messengers returned to Yaakov, saying, We came to your brother Esau, and he also comes to meet you, and 400 men with him. Then Yaakov was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks, and the herds, and the camels, into 2 bands, and said, If Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape. And Yaakov said, O Elohai of my father Avraham, and Elohai of my father Yitzchak, Yahuah, which said unto me, Return unto your country, and to your kindred, and I will deal well with you. I am not worthy of the least of all these mercies, and of all the truth which you have showed unto your servant. For with my staff I have passed over this Yarden, and now I am become 2 bands. Deliver me, I pray you, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me, and the mother with the children. And you said, I will surely do you good, and make your seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. And he lodged there that same night, and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother, 200 she-goats, and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes, and 20 rams, 30 milch camels with their colts, 40 kine, and 10 bulls, 20 she-asses, and 10 foals. And he delivered them into the hands of his servants, every drove by themselves, and said unto his servants, Pass over before me, and put a space betwixt drove and drove. And he commanded the foremost, saying, When Esau my brother meets you, and asks you, saying, Whose are you? And where go you? And whose are these before you? Then you shall say, They be your servant Yaakov's. It is a present sent unto my lord Esau. And behold, also he is behind us. And he commanded the second and the third, and all that followed the drove, saying, On this manner shall ye speak unto Esau when you find him. And say moreover, Behold, your servant Yaakov is behind us. For he said, I will appease him with the presence that goes before me, and afterward I will see his face. Perchance he will accept of me. So went the present over before him, and himself lodged that night in the company. And he arose up that night, and took his 2 women, and his 2 women servants, and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Yabok. And he took them, and sent them over the brook, and sent over that he had. And Yaakov was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Yaakov's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaks. And he said, I will not let you go, except you bless me. And he said unto him, What is your name? And he said, Yaakov. And he said, Your name shall be called no more Yaakov, but Yasharel. For as a prince have you power with Elohim and with men, and have prevailed. And Yaakov asked him and said, Tell me, I pray you, your name. And he said, Wherefore is it that you do ask after my name? And he blessed him there. And Yaakov called the name of the place Penuel. For I have seen Elohim face to face, and my life is preserved. And as he passed over Penuel, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. Therefore the children of Yashrael eat not of the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Yaakov's thigh and the sinew that shrank.
I was with our local Shabbat gathering yesterday, and it's so funny, it's just out of nowhere. Jacob is wrestling with an angel, and you're like, how did that happen? What sequence of events led to, hey, you're an angel, let's wrestle? How does that even happen? Now, needless to say, I found it very exciting. Wrestling was it wasn't my favorite, but I was the best at that. I had other sports that I liked more, but I was pretty good at wrestling. So when I saw this, I was like, this is cool, right? And it's really the only sport that's really mentioned in all of Scripture, isn't it? I mean, there's running. Running is mentioned in the Scripture, like running the race. But I think it's the only sport that's really mentioned in Scriptures, and I can think about it. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 22, it uses the word kadur, which is ball. It said, I'll toss you like a ball. So I guess they had balls for games back then. I don't know. Anyways, it's just really interesting that, again, out of nowhere, it's oh man, Brother James, he's got this good old Southern accent. He's like, hey, you're an angel, let's wrestle. I was like, yeah, how does that escalate? That things escalated really quickly there. But anyways, a couple things to go over here. I found some things that are fascinating in this chapter. First of all, I want to read a little bit more of Yashar in regards to, let's see. So we see that, again, there's some holes to be filled here, because we see Esau coming with 400 men with drawn swords ready to fight. And sure, it could be that these gifts that Yaakov sent him, all these droves of animals, he could have been like, oh, wow, this is great. Okay, now, I forgive you. I love you. It doesn't seem like that's Esau's character. And I think the book of Yashar tells us quite a bit about this. So I want to read it for you. Chapter 32. Let's see. Let's see here. Here we go. So Yaakov sends the messengers to Esau, right? And Esau answered them with pride and contempt and said to them, surely I have heard, and truly it has been told to me what Yaakov has done to Laban, who exalted him in his house and gave him his daughters for wives. And he begat sons and daughters, and abundantly increased in wealth and riches in Laban's house through his means. And when he saw that his wealth was abundant and his riches great, he fled with all belonging to him from Laban's house. And he led Laban's daughters away from their face of their father as captives taken by the sword without telling him of it. And not only to Laban has Yaakov done thus, but also he has done so and has twice supplanted me. And shall I be silent? Now therefore I have this day come with my camps to meet him, and I will do unto him according to the desire of my heart. And the messengers returned and came to Yaakov and said to him, we came to thy brother Esau, and we told him all thy words. And thus has he answered us, and behold, he cometh to meet thee with 400 men. Now then know and see what thou shalt do, and pray before Elohim to deliver thee. And when he heard the words of his brother, which he had spoken to the messengers of Yaakov, Yaakov was greatly afraid, and he was distressed. So, and we saw here also in Genesis, it said that Yaakov was afraid. He was afraid. But the difference with what Yaakov and what many people do, Yaakov then takes that fear and turns to Yahuwah with his heart and prays for deliverance from Yahuwah. Now he's not looking for deliverance from man or any of man's devices, but from Yahuwah alone. And Yaakov prayed to Yahuwah his Elohim, and he said, O Yahuwah, Elohim of my fathers, Avraham and Yitzchak, thou didst say unto me when I went away from my father's house, saying, I am Yahuwah, Elohim of thy father Avraham, and the Elohim of Yitzchak. Unto thee do I give this land, and thy seed after thee. And I will make thy seed as the stars of heaven, and thou shalt spread forth to the four sides of heaven, and in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And thou didst establish thy words, and didst give unto me riches and children and cattle, as the utmost wishes of my heart didst thou give unto thy servant. Thou didst give unto me all that I asked from thee, so that I lacked nothing. And thou didst afterwards say unto me, return to thy parents and to thy birthplace, and I will still do well with thee. And now that I have come, thou didst deliver me from Laban. I shall fall in the hands of Esau, who will slay me, yea, together with the mothers of my children. Now therefore, O Yahuwah Elohim, deliver me, I pray thee, also from the hands of my brother Esau, for I am greatly afraid of him. And if there is no righteousness in me, do it for the sake of Avraham and my father Yitzchak. For I know that through kindness and mercy have I acquired this wealth. Now therefore I beseech thee to deliver me this day with thy kindness, and to answer me. And Yaakov ceased from praying to Yahuwah, and he divided the people that were with him, with the flocks and the cattle, into 2 camps. And he gave the half to the care of Damasek, the son of Eleazar, Abraham's servant, for a camp, and with his children, and the other half he gave to the care of his brother Elianus, the son of Eleazar, to be for a camp with his children. So this is kind of cool. We saw how Eleazar was the head, the head servant of Avraham, and greatly loved and trusted by him. And so here Eleazar has sons that are also now in the service of his grandson Yaakov. So it's pretty cool. And he commanded them, saying, keep yourselves at a distance from your camps, and do not come too near each other. And if Esau come to one camp and slay it, the other camp at a distance from it will escape him. And Yaakov tarried there that night, and during the whole night he gave his servants instructions concerning the forces and his children. And Yahuwah heard the prayer of Yaakov on that day, and Yahuwah then delivered Yaakov from the hands of his brother Esau. Now here's how he did it. This is how Esau's mind got changed. And Yahuwah sent 3 angels angels of the angels of heaven, and they went before Esau and came to him. And these angels appeared unto Esau and his people as 2,000 men, riding upon horses furnished with all sorts of war instruments. And they appeared in the sight of Esau and all his men to be divided into 4 camps, with 4 chiefs to them. And one camp went on, and they found Esau coming with 400 men towards his brother Yaakov. And this camp ran toward Esau and his people and terrified them. And Esau fell off his horse in alarm, and all his men separated from him in that place, for they were greatly afraid. And the whole of the camp shouted after them when they fled from Esau. And all the warlike men answered, saying, Surely we are the servants of Yaakov. Who is the servant of Elohim, and who then can stand against us? And Esau said unto them, Oh, then my lord and my brother Yaakov is your lord, whom I have not seen for these 20 years. And now that I have come this day to see him, do you treat me in this manner? And the angels answered him, saying, As Yahuah liveth, were not Yaakov, of whom thou speakest thy brother, we had not let one remaining from thee and thy people, but only on account of Yaakov will we do nothing to them. And this camp passed from Esau and his men and went away. And Esau and his men had gone from them about a league, when the second camp came towards him with all sorts of weapons. And they also did unto Esau and his men as the first camp had done unto them. And when they had left it to go on, behold, the third camp came toward him, and they were all terrified. And Esau fell off the horse. And the whole camp cried out and said, Surely we are the servants of Yaakov. Who is the servant of Elohim, and who can stand against us? And Esau again answered them, saying, Oh, then, Yaakov, my lord, and your lord is my brother, and for 20 years I have not seen his countenance, and hearing this day that he was coming, I went this day to meet him, and do you treat me in this manner? And they answered him and said unto him, As Yahuah liveth, were not Yaakov thy brother, as thou didst say, we had not left a remnant from thee and thy men, but on account of Yaakov, of whom thou speakest, being thy brother, we will not meddle with thee or thy men. And the third camp also passed from them, and he still continued on his road with his men toward Yaakov. And the fourth camp came toward him, and they also did unto him and his men as the others had done. And when Esau beheld the evil which the 4 angels had done to him and to his men, he became greatly afraid of his brother Yaakov, and he went on to meet him in peace. And Esau concealed his hatred against Yaakov, because he was afraid of his life on account of his brother Yaakov, and because he imagined that the 4 camps that he had lighted upon were Yaakov's servants. So we'll stop there on Yashar and go back to Genesis. So pretty interesting. So that is how Esau's anger and his intent to kill Yaakov was subdued by these angels appearing to him as thousands of men in an army. So pretty interesting. Also, before we go to the Yaakov wrestling with the angel, the Targum reads, and Yaakov, speaking of Yaakov's fear of Esau, this is kind of interesting. It says, And Yaakov was greatly afraid, because for 20 years he had not been mindful of the glory of his father, and he had anxiety, and he divided the people who were with him, the sheep. And then, Deliver me, I pray, from the hand of my elder brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, for he hath been mindful of the glory of his father, lest he come and smite the mother with the children. So it looked like in the Targums, it looked like Yaakov was admitting a little bit of guilt as to saying he didn't mind the glory of his father. Maybe it had something to do with 6 years prior to this, when he had completed the second series of 7 years for his second wife, Rachel. If you remember, his mother had sent some servants to tell Yaakov, hey, it's time to come home. And Yaakov was like, I'm going to stay here and work for Laban for 6 more years. So that 6 years passed, right? And so maybe he had a little bit of fault there. He wasn't mindful of his parents. Who knows? Who knows? But it is a little interesting that in the Targums he admits a little bit of wrong. So let's go with Yaakov wrestling with the angel. And it says wrestles with God. There's been a lot of speculation as to who exactly he was wrestling here. I know a lot of you have probably seen the video that we did here on the channel a couple weeks ago called "The Angel of Yahuah." And I think for a long time I thought that this angel he wrestled with was the angel of Yahuah. It doesn't say that, though. It doesn't say here that it's the angel of Yahuah like we saw in that study in many other instances. It just says an angel. But nevertheless, I think for a long time I thought it was Yahusha, but in reading the Targums, I think it finally settled for me who this is, and I think it may interest you who we find out this is. So let's actually read that in the Targums, and it says right here, "And Yaakov remained alone beyond Jubekah, and an angel contended with him in the likeness of a man," right? "And he said," so the angel said, "Hast thou not promised to give the tenth of all that is thine? And behold, thou hast 10 sons and 1 daughter. Nevertheless, thou hast not tithed them." Immediately he set apart the firstborn of the 4 mothers, and there remained 8. And he began to number from Shimeon, and Levi came up for the 10th. And maybe this is why, as we read in the book of Exodus, Exodus, that when Yahuah was talking about the requirement of the firstborn, it said that Levi, the sons of Levi, would be in the place of all the firstborn sons of all of Yisrael. So, interesting there. So here we go. Now listen, here's where it gets interesting. "Michael answered and said, Yahuah of the world is thy lot. On account of these things he," Michael, "remained from Elohim at the torrent till the column of the morning was ascending. And he saw that he had not power to hurt him. And he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Yaakov's thigh was distorted in his contending with him. And he said, Let me go, for the column of the morning ascendeth. And the hour cometh when the angels on high offer praise to Yahuah of the world. And I am one of the angels of praise. But from the day that the world was created, my time to praise hath not come until now. And he said, I will not let thee go until thou bless me. And he said, What is thy name? And he answered, Yaakov. And he said, Thy name shall no more be called Yaakov, but Yashrael, because thou art magnified with the angels of Yahuah and with the mighty, and thou hast prevailed with them. And Yaakov asked and said, Show me now thy name. And he said, Why dost thou ask for my name? And he blessed Yaakov there. So it's really interesting. And you know, it says here, Jacob wrestled with God, with Elohim. And right down here it says, For as a prince you have power with Elohim, with men. Don't forget that angels are Elohim. Just like we see, the command, do not revile the Elohim. And so many times, Yahuah had rebuked Yisrael for going after other Elohim. I mean, it's one of the commandments, have no other Elohim other than Yahuah. Well, he wouldn't say that if there wasn't other Elohim. And that was specifically referring to the fallen Elohim that came down to man, showed him not all the secrets, showed them some of the secrets, and then men ended up worshiping them as Elohim. And these fallen angels also taught them how to bow down to images and sorcery and all these kind of things. So certainly, if these fallen angels are considered Elohim, Michael would be considered Elohim, like that, not like Elohim like Yahuah or Yahusha, but a type of Elohim, right? They're immortal. That's Elohim. And even Yahusha says, is it not written in your law that ye are Elohim, ye are gods, right? Maybe not yet. Maybe after the resurrection and that have the likeness of angels, or like in the book of Baruch, it says greater than the excellence of angels and equal to the stars. Maybe at that point, maybe that's a prophetic statement that Yahusha is talking about, that he's referring to in the Psalms. But I don't know. Again, I'm still testing the Targums. The Targums to me is not. I haven't solidified that it is just straight up genuine truth, and we accept everything that it says. I'm still in the testing phase. I have to say I've been very blessed by reading them, and I have to say personally, I feel the matter settled in my mind that it was Michael. That's just where I'm at. So, again, when I had these conversations, when I do these Torah portions, I really don't want to position myself as a teacher, because I still have a lot to learn myself. I'm new to Torah, like many of you are, and I'm learning as I go, and I've just felt led to share what my personal studies have produced with what I believe Yahuah may be showing me and making connections with scriptures and those kind of things. So, like I say often, I'm discussing these things as if we were hanging out in my living room, and I'm just sharing with you what I currently believe at this point. Any case, so really interesting. And one other thing, it's in here, since we're here, it says that the angel had renamed him. His name is no longer Yaakov, but your name shall be Yisrael, or Israel, or Yisrael. I've kind of gone back and forth on what I believe is the right pronunciation of it. Is it Israel? Is it Yisrael? Is it Yasharel? Once again, I like Dr. Pigeon's research on this, and so I'm gonna put this in the chat if you guys want to take a look at it for yourself. I'll try to make sure I put it in the comments section. But I think he has a really good case. We're not going to go over this because we already have enough to go over tonight. But he actually has a video here at the bottom too, if you want to check it out. I think he did his homework, and I think I'm going forward with Yasharel instead of Yisrael or Israel. So, any case, let's go on. So let's go to chapter 33. Okay, so here, 33. And Yaakov lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men, and he divided the children unto Leah, and unto Rachel, and unto the two handmaids. And he put the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost. So he put like the most loved in the back and the least loved in the front. I guess that's what he's doing here. It's something we talked about last year, and is it okay to have a favorite child? And I asked this. I have 5 of them, and I do have one child that I kind of favor a little bit, and I ask myself if that's right. We see certain things like Yahuah says, Yaakov I loved and Esau I hated. He has preference. He had preference of selecting Avraham, and I think as parents, if that's the case, we should probably be diligent to not let that be so apparent. I think we can actually also learn from what happened with Yaakov and Yosef, where he favored him so much and he gave him that coat of many colors. It made all of his brothers upset and mad and sad. So even though I kind of have my favorite, I do my best not to let it show. And, maybe even at some point, I'm kind of rebuking myself, saying that maybe I shouldn't even be that way. Maybe this whole having a favorite with Joseph was a lesson for us not to have a favorite. I don't know. Again, I'm just not really a teacher. I'm just sharing some of my inner thoughts on what's right and what's not right, because this is Torah, and Torah has become my life, and I want it to be intertwined with my every being. So what was the lesson learned about having a favorite? With Yosef, it's okay to have a favorite, or we shouldn't have a favorite. And I'm, if you have an opinion on this, I'd love to hear your opinion in the comments section. Unfortunately, in the live chat right now, I won't be able to read the live chat, but if you can put it in the comments, I really want to know what you think about this, because I still have some things to settle with this matter. And he passed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the women and the children and said, "Who are those with you?" And he said, "The children which Elohim has graciously given your servant." Then the handmaidens came near, they and their children, and they bowed themselves. And Leah also with her children came near and bowed themselves. And after came Joseph near and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. And he said, "What do you mean by all this drove which I met?" And he said, "These are to find grace in the sight of my Lord." And Esau said, "I have enough, my brother. Keep that you have unto yourself." And Yaakov said, Nay, I pray you, if now I have found grace in your sight, then receive my present in my hand. For therefore I have seen your face, as though I had seen the face of Elohim, and you were pleased with me. Take, I pray you, my blessing that is brought to you, because Elohim has dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it, and said, Let us take our journey, and let us go, and I will go before you. And he said, Oh, this doubled, okay. And he said unto him, My Lord knows that the children are tender, and the flocks and herds with young are with me. And if men should overdrive them one day, the flock will die. Let my Lord, I pray you, pass over before his servant, and I will lead on softly, according as the cattle that goes before me, and the children be able to endure, until I come unto my Lord unto Seir. And Esau said, Let me now leave with you some of the folk. So, hang on. Some of the folk that are with me. And he said, What needs it? Let me find grace in the sight of my Lord. So Esau returned. Is something wrong? I get a couple of you texting me and calling me. I wonder if something's going on here. Someone's saying that they can't find my YouTube channel. Okay. You guys seem to be in here, okay? Okay. Okay, someone just texted me, said that my YouTube channel was down. Okay, never mind. All right, sorry about that. I usually don't look at my phone, but I saw quite a few of you that I know watched these or were texting me, so I wanted to make sure that something wasn't wrong with the stream or something. Oh, okay. Okay. Thanks, Ty. Ty's like, I can hear you just fine. All right, here we go. And Esau said, Let me now leave with you some of the folk that are with me. It's probably supposed to be flock. No, maybe folk. And he said, What needs it? Let me find grace in the sight of my Lord. So Esau returned that day on his way to Seir. And Yaakov journeyed to Sukkoth and built him a house and made Sukkot booths for his cattle. Therefore the name of that place is called Sukkot. And Yaakov came to Shalem, a city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan. And he came from Padan Aram and pitched his tent before the city. And he bought a parcel of a field where he had spread his tent at the hand of the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. And he erected there an altar and called it El Elohai Yashar El. So, all right. Let's see here. And then as far as this last verse here, and he erected an altar, in the Targums it reads, And he raised there an altar, and there he gave the tithes, which he had set apart of all that he had before Elohim, the Elohim of Yashrael. So, showing that he is performing the oath of the tithes. Okay. Chapter 34. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bore unto Yaakov, went out to see the daughters of the land. And when Shechem the son of Hamor the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and defiled her. And his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Yaakov, and he loved the damsel and spoke kindly unto the damsel. And Shechem spoke unto his father Hamor, saying, Get me this damsel to be my woman. And Yaakov heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter. Now his sons were with his cattle in the field, and Yaakov held his peace until they were come. And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out unto El Yaakov to commune with him. And the sons of Yaakov came out of the field when they heard it, and the men were grieved, and they were very wroth, because he had wrought folly in Yashrael, in lying with Yaakov's daughter, which thing ought not to be done. And Hamor communed with him, saying, The soul of my son Shechem longs for your daughter. I pray you give him to be his woman. And make ye marriages with us, and give us your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you, and ye shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell, and trade ye therein, and get you possessions therein. And Shechem said unto her father, and unto her brethren, Let me find grace in your eyes, and what ye shall say unto me, I will give. Ask me never so much dowry and gift, and I will give according as ye shall say unto me. But give me the damsel to be my woman. And the sons of Yaakov answered Shechem and Hamor his father deceitfully. There it is again. This is something that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, and what we talked about actually yesterday in our Shabbat gathering is, we see this quite a bit. And, Steve Mutria actually put a video out on this. I can't remember the title of it, but, is it ever okay to lie? We know the commandment is, thou shalt not bear false witness. But we see the men of Yisrael using deceit sometimes, sometimes when it's necessary, sometimes to preserve life. I don't ever want to justify lying, but if some information can be withheld to save a life or to do something in righteousness, is that okay? What is Yahu and a sister brought this up yesterday at the gathering. It kind of in going along with this, Yahusha himself said, "Be therefore wise as serpents." He could have used any frame of reference he wanted to, but he used serpent. So he said, "Be wise as serpents and harmless as doves." So I asked that, and the only reason I asked that is in the times we're living in when the world, Egypt, whatever you want to call it, Babylon, is closing in on everything. Is this a time where we could use, if they're being deceitful with us, can we then in turn be deceitful back with them to preserve our lives or to preserve health? Because let's talk about the masks again. I'm short of an emergency, like having to go to the hospital if, one of my children breaks an arm or something, I got to take them to the hospital and they make me put a mask on or something, maybe fine. But outside of that, I'm not putting one on. It is actually bad for your health. It's very bad for your health. Just breathing in that air, your own air constantly, it's just not good for you. So, when I go into a store, I'm not wearing a mask. And if someone tells me to put a mask on, I just say I'm exempt. I've exempted myself. I know that, for the well-being of myself and my family, we're not wearing masks, so is that a lie that's breaking the commandment of thou shalt not bear false witness? Or is that the kind of deceit that Yaakov dealt with to be wise as a serpent and harmless as doves? Again, I'd like to hear your feedback on this. It seemed pretty overwhelmingly in our Shabbat gathering yesterday that in certain cases it is okay, especially to preserve life. Again, I can't remember the name of the teaching that Steve Mutria did, where he unequivocally showed that per the scriptures that to preserve life, lying was okay. And last Torah portion we saw it where Yaakov straight up lied to his father. His father's like, "Are you my son Esau?" And Yaakov's like, "I am." And I'm treading very carefully here because a lot of you that have been watching this channel, you guys know that I came from a utterly horrible life of sin, and I used to be a liar. I was a liar, and sometimes I lie just to lie. And so I'm being very careful with this one because I don't want to be a liar, but again, in certain things like this mask thing and the vaccines and who knows whatever else is coming, I feel like it's within our right to be wise as serpents back with these people that are trying to be deceitful with us and to harm our health and to enslave my family. So that's where I'm going with this. I'm not talking about saying it's okay to lie. That's definitely not where I'm going because that's obviously the commandment. The ninth commandment is to not bear false witness. So treading very carefully on this one, but I felt like I just wanted to bring it up because something kind of needs to be said about this, especially as we continue to go forward with the direction of this world. And, if you want to go with that, with what Paul says to obey the government, well, fine, then go ahead, obey the government, stick that vaccine in your arm, put that mask on your face all day long. As for me and my house, no, thank you. not happening. So here we go again. So and the sons of Yaakov answered Shechem and Hamor his father deceitfully, and said because he had defiled Dinah their sister. And they said unto them, we cannot do this thing to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us. But in this will we consent unto you, if ye will be as we be, that every male of you be circumcised, then we will give our daughters unto you, and we will take your daughters unto us, and we will dwell with you, and we will become one people. But if you will not hearken to us to be circumcised, then we will take our daughter, and we will be gone. And their words pleased Hamor and Shechem Hamor's son. And the young man deferred not to do the thing, because he had delight in Yaakov's daughter, and he was more honorable than all the house of his father. And Hamor and Shechem his son came unto the gate of their city, and communed with the men of their city, saying, these men are peaceable with us. Therefore let them dwell in the land, and trade therein. For the land, behold, it is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters to us for women, and let us give them our daughters. Only herein will the men consent unto us for to dwell with us, to be one people, if every male among us be circumcised as they are circumcised. Now listen here. Shall not their cattle and their substance and every beast of theirs be ours? Right? So they were dealing deceitfully. Only let us consent unto them, and they will dwell with us. And unto Hamor and unto Shechem his son hearkened all that went out of the gate of his city, and every male was circumcised, all that went out of the gate of his city. And it came to pass on the third day, when they were sore, that two of the sons of Yaakov, Shimon and Levi, Dinah's brethren, took each man his sword, and came upon the city boldly, and slew all the males. And they slew Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house, and went out. The sons of Yaakov came upon the slain, and spoiled the city, because they had defiled their sister. They took their sheep, and their oxen, and their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones, and their women they took captive, and spoiled even all that was in the house. And Yaakov said to Shimon and Levi, ye have troubled me to make me stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Kenaim and the Perizim, and I being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me, and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. And they said, should he deal with our sister as an harlot? So, in any case, actually, let's take a look at Jasher. Jasher 33. Actually, got quite a bit of reading here. I might just recap it for you, because we're already an hour in. Wow. So, for your own study, read the book of Jasher, all of 33, and up to verse 37 in chapter 34, and it gives all the extra details about what happens here, the interaction between Shechem, Hamor. It does make it very clear in Yashar, because some Torah teachers will say that Shechem did not take her by force. It was not rape, that it was consensual, just because, the book of Genesis doesn't make it very clear. The book of Yashar makes it extremely clear that he raped her big time, and that her father sent some servants to get her. And when the servants came from Yaakov's house, Shechem had, Dinah in his arms, and he was kissing all over her. And so the servants went back and was like, not good. Also, it mentioned that Dinah was 12 years old when this happened. So that kind of adds, to me, that adds a lot of, fuel to the fire. I can only imagine. I've got a 13-year-old daughter, and if something like that happened, oof. Oh man. What else? And also let's talk about it. This would have never happened had they not went to this. Basically, it was like a festival of heathen people, of heathen nations, and they were basically hanging out, watching their dances and celebrations and rituals. And had they not been there, this wouldn't have happened. So it's maybe a good indicator for us that, a good lesson for us that maybe we shouldn't be commingling with, these heathen practices. What else did it say in there? there was a lot more back and forth with Shechem and Yaakov and his brethren. What else? What else was said? Anyways, it was also revealed that this is something that the people of Shechem did quite often. Travelers would come through; they would take their wives and send away the husbands and banish them. So they did this pretty often. It was almost like a mini Sodom and Gomorrah. These people here, they were very, very wicked and evil. So they've done this to other travelers before, just taking their wives from them and sending off the husbands. It was also revealed that these people had tried to do something similar to Sarah, and that they had plans for Rachel as well, to steal her as well. So these are really, really wicked people. This judgment was determined upon them. And speaking of which, we're going to turn to the Testament of Levi, which this was actually found. This one and Naphtali, the Testament of Levi and the Testament of Naphtali were both found in the Dead Sea Scroll findings. Now, I will say that, I don't think everything that was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls is inspired. I mean, there's some really rough stuff that was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, like the Damascus document and some other really writings full of just leaven, doctrines of men. But there was a lot of good stuff found in there, like the Book of Enoch, the Book of Giants, Jubilees was found there. All of the canon was found there, except for Esther for some reason. What else? The Testament of Levi was found there. The Testament of Naphtali was found on there. So really interesting stuff. So let's read this. We're going to read Testament of Levi chapter 2 and then a couple of verses into chapter 3. Now therefore know that Yahuah shall execute judgment upon the sons of men, because when the rocks are being rent, and the sun quenched, and the waters dried up, and the fire cowering, and all creation troubled, and the invisible spirits melting away, and Hades taketh spoils through the vegetations of the Most High, men will be unbelieving and persist in their iniquity. On this account with punishment shall they be judged. Therefore the Most High hath heard thy prayer to separate thee from iniquity, and that thou shouldst become to him a son, and a servant, and a minister of his presence. The light of knowledge shalt thou light up in Yaakov, and as the sun shalt thou be to all the seed of Yisrael. And there shall be given to thee a blessing, and to all thy seed, until Yahuah shall visit all the Gentiles in his tender mercies forever. And therefore there have been given to thee counsel and understanding, that thou mightest instruct thy sons concerning this. Because they that bless him shall be blessed, and they that curse him shall perish. And thereupon the angel opened to me the gates of heaven, and I saw the holy temple, and upon the throne of glory the Most High. And he said to me, Levi, I have given to thee the blessing of the priesthood until I come and sojourn in the midst of Yisrael. Then the angel brought me down to the earth, and gave me a shield and a sword, and said to me, Execute vengeance on Shechem because of Dinah, thy sister, and I will be with thee, because Yahuah hath sent me. And I destroyed at that time the sons of Hamor, as it is written in the heavenly tables. And I said to him, I pray thee, O Lord, tell me thy name, that I may call upon thee in the day of tribulation. And he said, I am the angel who intercedeth for the nation of Yisrael, that they may not be smitten utterly, for every spirit attacketh it. And after these things I awaked and blessed the Most High, and the angel who intercedeth for the nation of Yisrael and for all the righteous. Chapter 3. And when I was going to my father, I found a brazen shield, wherefore also the name of the mountain is Aspis, which is near Gebal, to the south of Abila. And I kept these words in my heart, and after this I counseled my father and Reuben my brother to bid the sons of Hamor not to be circumcised, for I was zealous because of the abomination which they had wrought on my sister. And I slew Shechem first, and Simeon slew Hamor. And after this my brothers came and smote that city with the edge of the sword. And my father heard these things and was wroth, and he was grieved in that day and had received the circumcision. And he was grieved in that they had received the circumcision, and after that had been put to death. And in his blessing he looked amiss upon us, for we sinned because we had done this thing against his will, and he was sick on that day. But I saw that the sentence of Elohim was for evil upon Shechem, for they sought to do to Sarah and Rebekah as they had done to Dinah our sister, but Yahuah prevented them. And they persecuted Avraham our father when he was a stranger, and they vexed his flocks when they were big with young. and Eblain, who was born in his house, they most shamefully handled. And thus they did to all strangers, taking away their wives by force, and they banished them. But the wrath of Yahuah came upon them to the uttermost. And I said to my father Yaakov, by thee will Yahuah despoil the Canaanites, and will give their land to thee and to thy seed after thee. For from this day forward shall Shechem be called a city of imbeciles. For as a man mocketh a fool, so did we mock them. Because also they had wrought folly in Yisrael by defiling my sister. And we departed and came to Bethel. So that was the Testament of Levi, an amazing book. Oh, man, it's one of my favorites. It really, really is. So let's read chapter 35. And Elohim said unto Yaakov, arise, go up to Beit El, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto Elohim, and that appeared unto you when you fled from the face of Esau your brother. Then Yaakov said unto his household and all that were with him, put away the strange Elohai that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments. Now this is really interesting, right? Oh, here, we'll keep reading until verse 3. And let us arise and go up to Beit El, and I will make there an altar unto Elohim, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went. And they gave unto Yaakov all the strange Elohai, the strange gods, which were in their hand, and all their earrings which were in their ears, and Yaakov hid them under the oak which was by Shechem. So, kind of interesting, right? Like, you're like, why does Yaakov, Jacob, and his family have strange gods, right? Let's take a look at this. So this is chapter 35. And Yahuah said to Yaakov, arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there. This is the Targums, by the way. And make there an altar unto Elohah, who revealed himself to thee in thy flight from before Esau thy brother. And Yaakov said to the men of his house, and to all who were with him, put away the idols of the peoples which are among you, which you took from the temple of Shechem. So that makes a lot of sense. And purify you from the uncleanness of the slain whom you have, and change your raiment. And we will arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto Elohah, who heard my prayer in the day when I was afflicted, and whose word was my helper in the way that I went. And they delivered unto Yaakov's hand all the idols of the peoples which were in their hands, which they had taken from the temple of Shechem, and the jewels that had been in the ears of the inhabitants of the city of Shechem, in which was portrayed the likeness of their images. And Yaakov hid them under the terebinth that was near to the city of Shechem. So that makes a whole lot of sense to me. All right, continuing, verse 4, chapter 35. And they gave unto Okay. Verse 5. And they journeyed, and the terror of Elohim was upon the cities that were around about them, and they did not pursue after the sons of Yaakov. So Yaakov came to Luz, which is in the land of Canaan, that is Beit El, and he and all the people that were with him. And he built there an altar, and called the place Beit El, because there Elohim appeared unto him when he fled from the face of his brother. But Deborah, Rivka's nurse, died, and she was buried beneath Beit El under an oak, and the name of it was called Alon Bakut. And Elohim appeared unto Yaakov again when he came out of Padan Aram, and blessed him. And Elohim said unto him, your name is Yaakov. Your name shall not be called any more Yaakov, but Yashar'el shall be your name. And he called his name Yashar'el. And Elohim said unto him, I am El Shaddai. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of you, and kings shall come out of your loins. And the land which I gave Avraham and Yitzchak, to you will I give it, and to your seed after you will I give the land. And Elohim went out from him in the place where he talked with him. And Yaakov set up a pillar in the place where he talked with him, even a pillar of stone. And he poured a drink offering thereon, and he poured oil thereon. And Yaakov called the name of the place where Elohim spoke with him Beit El. And they journeyed from Beit El, and there was but a little way to come to Ephratah, and Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor. And it came to pass, when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said unto her, fear not, you shall have this son also. And it came to pass, as her soul was in departing, for she died, that she called his name Ben-Oni, but his father called him Benjamin. And Rachel died, and was buried in the way to Ephratah, which is Bethlehem. So this is something also that we talked about last night or yesterday in our Shabbat gathering. We have to be very careful with what we speak and what we declare. Personally, I am trying to be careful of everything that comes out of my mouth going forward. Reason being is 2 portions ago, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? It was when Lavan was it was last week when Lavan was coming to meet Yaakov, and he was like, first of all, why did you run away from me? And second of all, why did you steal my gods, my images? And Yaakov didn't know that Rachel had stole them, so he was like, what? He's like, we didn't steal your stuff, or I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, whoever stole your images, let them die before their time. And it said because he did not know that Rachel had stole these things. So what happens here not too long afterwards? Rachel dies before her time. So was that the exact cause of it? It's uncertain. We can't know for sure. But I have a feeling that Yaakov's words were so powerful that he manifested that. Is just from it's from where I'm at right now with that. And I think that's a huge lesson for us in our day. We have to be very careful with what we say. Some of our brothers and sisters were really talking about some interesting things, even just in the English language. Like, let's talk about the word spelling, right? Spell, right? Spelling. It's almost like casting a spell. If the word weird apparently is used in a lot of witchcraft incantations. And anyways, we have to just be very careful what we speak. But I'm not really talking about that, but really specifically, I think a lot of us grew up with watching movies, watching TV shows, and a lot of the humor that comes out of Hollywood is sarcasm. And I could tell you, as someone that used to really be a master of sarcasm, I used to be a funny guy. I was kind of always the kid. I was the kid in class that was, I wasn't really the class clown, but I always liked to make people laugh. And, in my later years, I made a lot of sarcastic humor. And the problem with that is a lot of sarcasm is speaking in opposites, but because you do so, it's funny. And so we have to be very careful, and I think we need to shed a lot of that because even though you're saying it sarcastically and funny-like, you're still saying it. And we know that Yahusha says, by even every idle word shall be held against you, and by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. So trust me, I am not sitting on a soapbox here and being like, you guys need to watch your mouth. I need to watch my mouth because I find myself saying things all the time that I don't want to say. Like, even like little things, like I'd be like, oh, I bet you that sounds... I don't want to bet you. I don't want to gamble. I don't want to bet you anything. So why am I saying I'm going to bet you that you won't, that this or that? Like, even things like that, I'm really catching myself and be like, wait, I don't want to bet. Why am I saying that? So I think we all need to check ourselves and, take a real good look at how we speak and the things we say. And I think we need to be very careful because we may not want to manifest. I mean, even the things like when you're mad and be like, oh, I'm so dumb. Why do you want to put that on yourself? Why do you want to, or I'm such an idiot. Like, why do you want to put that on yourself? And I'm asking myself because these are things that are ingrained in my mind because of just how I spoke for a long time. But these are little nuggets in Torah that I think we should really glean for ourselves because unfortunately our enemy, our adversary, in a lot of ways is smarter, has more intelligence than us, especially in getting us to trip up on ourselves. It's the story of Balaam all over again. Just to quickly reference it, Balaam was going to be paid huge riches to curse Yisrael. And when Balaam was consulting with Yahuah to do so, Yahuah was like, no, you can't curse whom I've blessed. And Balaam told the king, he's like, listen, I told you when you came to get me, I couldn't do more or less than what Elohim told me. And Elohim told me no, so I can't do it. And the king kept pressing him. He's like, I'll make you rich. I'll make you rich. And so eventually, as we learn, Balaam wanted those riches. And so he's like, I can't curse them, but I can get them to curse themselves. So I'm going to get them nice and drunk. We're going to put these beautiful women outside their tents. They're going to eat of the pagan sacrifice, and they're going to curse themselves. And they did. They cursed themselves. And so Hasatan, how much more does Hasatan want us to curse ourselves? And so he puts humor out there for us to curse ourselves. He puts, profane and abominable food all over the place. There's pork in everything almost. You really have to watch it. I mean, it's in everything. It's in refried beans. It's in a lot of cheeses. It's in gummies. It's in check your vitamins. It's in a lot of. I had to throw some of my vitamins away. There's these vitamins I was taking for years, and it's a really good brand. And like every one of their vitamins they sell was they use vegetable capsules, but they sold one capsule that out of nowhere had gelatin in it, which was derived from pork. I'm like, what the heck? So, anyways, all I'm saying is that Hasatan really wants us to trip up on ourselves, and so all I'm saying is just watch what you say, watch what you may manifest, because you very well may manifest it. It's very possible that you could manifest it, and so don't speak death in your life. Speak life. Speak words of life, and speak words that you actually want to say. Anyways, I'm beating a dead horse. So you get my point. Verse 20. And Yaakov set up a pillar upon her grave, that is the pillar of Rachel's grave unto this day. And Yashrael journeyed and spread his tent beyond Migdal Eder. And it came to pass when Yashrael dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah his father's concubine, and Yashrael heard it. Now the sons of Yaakov were 12. Now let's stop there, because same thing, like boom, this happens, and then that's it. You're like, whoa, okay, what? Reuben slept with his father's wife? Okay, weird. So here's the testament of Reuben, and let's read a little bit about Reuben. The copy of the testament of Reuben, even the commands which he gave his sons before he died in the 125th year of his life, 2 years after the death of Joseph his brother, when Reuben fell ill, his sons and his sons' sons were gathered together to visit him. And he said to them, My children, behold, I am dying, and I go the way of my fathers. And seeing there Judah and Gad and Asher and his brethren, he said to them, Raise me up, that I may tell to my brethren and to my children what things I have hidden in my heart. For behold, now at length I am passing away. And he arose and kissed them, and said unto them, Hear, my brethren, and do ye, my children, give ear to Reuben your father in the commands which I give unto you. And behold, I call to witness against you this day the Elohim of heaven, that ye walk not in the sins of youth, and in fornication, wherein I was poured out, and defiled the bed of my father Yaakov. I tell you that he smote me with a sore plague in my loins for 7 months, and had not my father Yaakov prayed for me to Yahuah, Yahuah would have destroyed me. For I was 30 years old when I wrought the evil thing before Yahuah, and for 7 months I was sick unto death. And after this I repented with set purpose of my soul for 7 years before Yahuah. Now this is what we don't get in Genesis, that we get in the testament of Reuben. Reuben repented with all that he had. And wine and strong drink I drank not, and flesh entered not into my mouth, and I ate no pleasant food, but I mourned over my sin, for it was great, such as had not been in Yashrael. And now hear me, my children, what things I saw concerning the 7 spirits of deceit when I repented. This is kind of interesting. 7 spirits, therefore, are appointed against man, and they are the leaders in the works of youth. And 7 other spirits are given to him at his creation, that through them should be done every work of man. The first is the spirit of life, with which the constitution of man is created. The second is the sense of sight, with which ariseth desire. The third is the sense of hearing, with which cometh teaching. The fourth is the sense of smell, with which tastes are given to draw air and breath. The fifth is the power of speech, with which cometh knowledge. The sixth is the sense of taste, with which cometh the eating of meats and drinks, and by it strength is produced, for in food is the foundation of strength. The seventh is the power of procreation and sexual intercourse, with which through love of pleasure sins enter in. Wherefore it is the last in order of creation, and the first in that of youth, because it is filled with ignorance, and leadeth the youth as a blind man to a pit, and as a beast to a precipice. Beside all these, there is an eighth spirit of sleep, with which is brought about the trance of nature and of the death. And with these spirits are mingled the spirits of error. First, the spirit of fornication is seated in the nature and in the senses. The second, the spirit of insatiableness in the belly. The third, the spirit of fighting in the liver and in the gall. The fourth is the spirit of obsequiousness and chicanery, that through officious attention one may be fair in seeming. This is like someone that's deceitful in their ways to seem, to seem pleasant or righteous in people's eyes, but deep down inside, this is like what Pharisees. This is like a perfect definition of Pharisees. The fifth is the spirit of pride, that one may be boastful and arrogant. The sixth is the spirit of lying and perdition and jealousy, to practice deceits and concealments from kindred and friends. The seventh is the spirit of injustice, with which are the thefts and acts of rapacity, that a man may fulfill the desire of his heart. For injustice worketh together with the other spirits by the taking of gifts. And with all these is the spirit of sleep is joined with, and with all these the spirit of sleep is joined, which is that of error and fantasy. And so perisheth every young man, darkening his mind from the truth, and not understanding the Torah of Elohim, nor obeying the admonitions of his fathers, as befell me also in my youth. And now, my children, love the truth, and it will preserve you. Hear the words of Reuben your father. Pay no heed to the face of a woman, nor associate with another man's wife, nor meddle with affairs of womankind. For had I not seen Bilhah bathing in a covered place, I had not fallen into this great iniquity. Who does that remind you of? That reminds you of what David had, right? So if David had not seen Bathsheba bathing, he probably would not have worked what he worked. For my mind taking in the thought of the woman's nakedness suffered me not to sleep until I had wrought the abominable thing. For while Yaakov our father had gone to Yitzchak his father, when we were in Eder, near to Ephratah in Bethlehem, Bilhah became drunk and was asleep uncovered in her chamber. Having therefore gone in and beheld her nakedness, I wrought the impiety without her perceiving it, and leaving her sleeping, departed. And forthwith an angel of Elohim revealed to my father concerning my impiety, and he came and mourned over me, and touched her no more. Pay no heed, therefore, my children, to the beauty of women, nor set your mind on their affairs, but walk in singleness of heart in the fear of Yahuwah, and expand labor on good works, and on study, and on your flocks, until Yahuwah give you a wife, whom he will, that ye not suffer as I did. For until my father's death I had not boldness to look in his face, or to speak to any of my brethren because of the reproach. Even until now my conscience causeth me anguish on account of my impiety. And yet my father comforted me much, and prayed for me unto Yahuwah, that the anger of Yahuwah might pass from me, even as Yahuwah showed. And thenceforth until now I have been on my guard, and sinned not. Therefore, my children, I say unto you, observe all things whatsoever I command you, and ye shall not sin. For a pit unto the soul is the sin of fornication, separating it from Elohim, and bringing it near to idols, because it deceiveth the mind and understanding, and leadeth down young men into Hades before their time. For many hath fornication destroyed, because though a man be old or noble, or rich or poor, he bringeth reproach upon himself with the sons of men, and derision with Beliar. And we'll just stop there, actually. So anyways, so here we see Reuben. First of all, we see how it went down, but we see Reuben repenting for 7 years, right? Not drinking, not eating any flesh, and repenting with everything he had for 7 years. And we see that he was forgiven. So praise Yah for that. So Genesis 35:23. The sons of Leah, Reuben, Yaakov's firstborn, and Shimon, and Levi, and Yehuda, and Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Yosef, and Benjamin. The sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan, and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad, and Asher. These are the sons of Yaakov, which were born to him Padan Aram. And Yaakov came unto Yitzchak his father, unto Mamre, unto Kiryat Arba, which is Hebron, where Abraham and Yitzchak sojourned. And the days of Yitzchak were 180 years, and Yitzchak gave up his ruach, and died, and was gathered into his people, being old and full of days, and his sons Esau and Yaakov buried him. And so last chapter of the night, we're just going to go quickly through this. This is the lineage of Esau. There actually are two interesting little nuggets we can pull from this. Excuse me. Genesis 36. Now these are the generations of Esau, who was Edom. Esau took his woman of the daughters of Canaan, Ada, the daughter of Elon, the Hittite, and Aholibama, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Tzivon, the Hivite, and Basemat, Yishmael's daughter, sister of Neviot. And Ada bore to Esau Eliphaz, and Basmath bore Reuel. And Aholibama bore Yeish, and Elam, and Korach. These are the sons of Esau, which were born unto him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his woman, and his sons, and his daughters, and all the persons of his house, and his cattle, and all his beasts, and all of his substance which he had got in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Yaakov. For their riches were more than that they might dwell together, and the land wherein they were strangers could not bear them because of their cattle. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of Edom, the Edomim, in Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, the son of Ada, the woman of Esau; Reuel, the son of Basmath, the woman of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, and Gatam, and Kenaz. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bore to Eliphaz Amalek. And we know who Amalek was. We read about him in the book of Numbers quite a bit. These were the sons of Ada, Esau's woman. And these the sons of Reuel, Nachatz, Zerach, Shammah, and Mizah. These were the sons of Basmath, Esau's woman. And actually, let me pause right here. So we stopped at 13. Verse 11, it says the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. So let's look at a pretty famous man of Israel who came from the tribe of Kenaz. So... yeah, okay, so here's the Hebrew word Kenaz, and let's look at Numbers 32:12. Save Caleb the son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, and Joshua the son of Nun, for they have wholly followed Yahweh. So Caleb is a Kenizzite, and you'll see here, you'll see a Kenizzite. This is who Caleb was. Kenizzite, descendants of Kenaz, and you can see it's from H7073, Kenaz, one of the dukes of Edom. So Caleb is an Edomite. Pretty interesting, right? And let's keep going. We'll finish this. And there's one other person that's pretty famous in the scriptures that is a son of Esau that most of you have no idea. Some of you probably already have an idea who I'm talking about, but it's pretty interesting. I'll share that with you. Verse 14, and these are the sons of Aholibama, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Ziphon, Esau's woman, and she bore to Esau Yeish, and Yalam, and Korach. These were the dukes of the sons of Esau, the sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn, son of Esau, Duke Teman, Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, Duke Kenaz. There he is again. Duke Korach, Duke Katam, Duke Amalek. These are the dukes that came of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Ada. And these are the sons of Reuel, Esau's son, Duke Nachat, Duke Zerach, Duke Shammah, Duke Mizah. These are the dukes that came of Reuel in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Basmath, Esau's woman. These are the sons of Aholibama, Esau's woman, Duke Yeish, Duke Yalam, Duke Korach. These are the dukes that came of Aholibama, the daughter of Anna, Esau's woman. These are the sons of Esau, who was Edom, and these are their dukes. These are the sons of Seir the Horai, who inhabited the land, Lotan and Shoval, Tzivon and Anna, and Dishon and Etzer and Dishan. These are the dukes of the Horim, the children of Seir in the land of Edom. And the children of Lotan were Horai and Heman, and Lotan's sister was Timnah. And the children of Shoval were these, Ilan and Manachat, and Eval and Shephi and Onam. These are the children of Ziphon, both Aya and Anna. This was that Anna found the mules in the wilderness as he fed the asses of Ziphon his father, which is interesting, and I actually want to share that with you. That is the craziest story. Is it 34? Oh no. because here's another. This is another interesting thing that connects the book of Jasher being true. Stand by. No. Maybe it's 36. Yes. Check this out. So here's another nugget to tell you the book of Jasher is true. Listen to this. Let's read it again. Genesis 36:24. And these the children of Ziphon, both Aya and Anna. This was that Anna that found the mules in the wilderness as he fed the asses of Ziphon his father. Check this out. This is the craziest story. And the sons of Shoval were Alvan, Manahatha, Ebal, Shepho, Onam. And the sons of Zibon were Ajah and Anna. This was that Anna who found the Yamim in the wilderness when he fed the asses of Zibon his father. Let's see exactly who these Yamim are. And whilst he was feeding his father's asses, he led them to the wilderness at different times to feed them. And there was a day that he brought them to one of the deserts on the seashore, opposite the wilderness of the people. And whilst he was feeding them, behold, a very heavy storm came from the other side of the sea and rested upon the asses that were feeding there, and they all stood still. Check this out. And afterward, about 120 great terrible animals came out from the wilderness at the other side of the sea, and they all came to the place where the asses were, and they all placed themselves there. Check this out. And those animals, from their middle downward, were in the shape of the children of men. So from their waist down, they had legs like men. And from their middle upward, some had the likeness of bears, and some had the likeness of kephas, with tails behind them from between their shoulders, reaching down to the earth, like the tails of the, this is Duchifath. And these animals came and mounted and rode upon these asses and led them away, and they went away unto this day. And one of these animals approached Anna and smote him with his tail, and then fled from that place. And when he saw this work, he was exceedingly afraid of his life, and he fled and escaped to the city. And he related to his sons and his brothers all that happened to him, and many men went to seek the asses, but could not find them. And Anna and his brothers went no more to that place from that day following, for they were greatly afraid of their lives. So crazy. So he's got these asses, and he's feeding them, and then all of a sudden this crazy storm comes in out of nowhere, and then 120 of these chimeras come out that have legs of a human and bodies of bears, and I guess they're like minotaurs, right? And they ride these asses and take them out, and they're like, see ya. But one of them walks up to Anna and is like, I'm going to whip you with my tail, and then walk away. Whoa, crazy. But moral of the story is, here it is, and these are the children of Ziphon, both Aya and Anna. This was that Anna that found the mules in the wilderness as he fed the asses of Ziphon, his father. So where are you going to find that story of what happened here? Right? These are the children of Ziphon. So how do we know what this is unless we had the book of Yashar? And the children of Anna were these, Dishon and Aholibama, the daughters of Anna. And these are the children of Dishon, Hemdan, and Eshban, and Yithran, and Cheran. These are the children of Etzer. And the children of Etzer are these, Bilhan, and Zavan, and Akan. The children of Dishon are these, Utz, and Aran. These are the dukes that came of the Chorim, Duke Lotan, Duke Shoval, Duke Ziphon, Duke Anna, Duke Dishon, Duke Etzer, Duke Dishon. These are the dukes that came of Horai, among their dukes in the land of Seir. And these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom before there reigned any king over the children of Yashrael. And Bela, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinchaba. And Bela died, and Jobab, the son of Zerach of Botzra, reigned in his stead. And Jobab, you probably know who I'm talking about here at this point, and Chutzam, the land of Timani, reigned in his stead. And Husham died, and Hadad, the son of Bedad, who smote Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his stead. And the name of his city was Avit. And Hadad died, and Samlah of Masreka reigned in his stead, and Samlah died. And Shaul of Rehoboth by the river reigned in his stead. And Shaul died, and Baal-Hanan the son of Akbor reigned in his stead. And Baal-Hanan the son of Akbor died, and Hadar reigned in his stead. And the name of his city was Pau, and his woman's name was Meheyatavel, the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Me-Zachav. And these are the names of the dukes that came of Esau, according to their families, after their places, by their names: Duke Timnah, Duke Alia, Duke Yethet, Duke Oholibama, Duke Elah, Duke Pinon, Duke Kenaz, Duke Timan, Duke Mitzvar, Duke Magdiel, Duke Iram. These be the dukes of Edom, according to their habitations in the land of their possession. He is Esau, the father of the Edomim. So check this out. This is the Septuagint of Job 42. Last chapter, last paragraph. This man is described in the Syriac book as living in the land of Ossus, on the borders of Idumea and Arabia. His name before was Jobab, and having taken an Arabian wife, he begot a son whose name was Enon, and he himself was the son of his father Zareh, one of the sons of Esau, and of his mother Bosra, so that he was the fifth from Avraham. And these were the kings who reigned in Edom, which country he also ruled over. First Balak, the son of Beor, and the name of his city was Denaba. But after Balak, Jobab, who is called Job. So, yes, Job, a very righteous man, a son of Esau. And here we'll connect the dots here of the lineage. Genesis 36, 2-4, Esau took his wives, the daughter of Canaan, Ada, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Holibama, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite, and Bashemat, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nebaioth. And Ada bare to Esau Eliphaz, and Bashemoth bare Reuel. So here we have, so we'll start the lineage. So Esau's third wife, Bashemoth, he took from Ishmael, and Bashemoth bare Reuel. So we have Esau, Reuel. Genesis 36:17, these are the sons of Reuel. Esau's son, Duke Nahath, Duke Zerah. This is Job's father. So we have Esau, Reuel, Zerah, right? So we have Abraham, Yitzchak, Esau. So the fifth, right? So the fifth. So Abraham, Yitzchak, Esau, Reuel, Zerah, Jobab. So he was fifth from Abraham. So, okay, so Reuel, Zerah, and then Genesis 36, 33-34, and Bela died, and Jobab, the son of Zerah of Bozrah, reigned in his stead, and Jobab died in the land of Temani, reigned in his stead. So, in any case, pretty interesting, and yeah. Oh, and then last thing, in the Targums, it reads, and the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zephu, and Gatam, and Kenaz, and Timnah. And Timnah was the concubine of Eliphaz, bar Esau, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. He is Eliphaz, the companion of Job. So, pretty interesting, right? So, a lot of interesting things, this portion. And again, I apologize that we didn't do this Friday night, but there, as you can see, this was a kind of a longer one, and there was a lot to go over. And towards the end of the night on Friday, I was getting pretty tired, so I apologize. But maybe we'll do this from time to time, because I know a lot of you would like to join these live, but it just gets too late on Friday nights. So maybe once in a while we'll do it like this. I'm not sure. I am thinking about long term about doing the Torah portions another night, other than doing them all in one night. So maybe one day I'll get your input on that and see where you all are on that. So anyways, so I pray that this was a blessing for you all, and I pray that you maybe learned something. Maybe there's some things to think about. I know I put a couple questions out there, as far as looking for feedback on some things, because again, Yahuah gives a lot of us different portions of wisdom, and I certainly do not have it all. I know a lot of you have some wisdom and things that I don't have, and maybe I have some wisdom, some things that you don't have, and this is where I think we should just work together, because I think at the end of the day, we're all on the same team. Now, I know we're all on the same team. Well, those of us that are really searching for the truth, we're on the same team, right? And I want to learn from you, and I hope you can learn from me. But at the end of the day, it's Yahuwah who is the revealer of wisdom. So let us continue to seek him, and may he guide us continually in the days ahead, especially as the world continues to get crazier. So Nicole Powell says now she's have to throw away all of her vitamins. Just, double check it. If it's got gelatin, gelatin is made from pork. So sorry, but I'd rather you know than not know. And it's hidden in so many things. But the good news is there's a lot of substitutes for that. So, and a lot of them you can look for bovine gelatin, and then which bovine comes from the cattle families, which should be clean. So, anyways, so yeah, let's pray. We'll do the priestly blessing, and then I'll leave you with one of the songs that Jake and I are working on. I think it's one of the same songs I share with you all. It's my son's favorite. It's probably because it's a little grungier than the rest of the songs. Anyways, let's pray. Heavenly Father, Yahuwah Most High, we just come before you in Yahusha's name, and we thank you again for allowing us to have this assembly to where we can search your scriptures out together, and we pray that you continue to open our eyes and ears to hearing of your word, and not just to be hearers alone, but doers of your word, because we know that doers of your word will be justified. And we just praise you for giving us of Messiah Yahusha, that we may be reconciled to you, that we may be saved. And we thank you for opening our eyes to your Torah, that we may be found worthy, possibly, and to enter into the gates of New Jerusalem, and to drink freely of or eat freely of the tree of life. And we are so looking forward to spending eternity with you and with each other. We love you, we bless you, and please continue to open our eyes to the wondrous things out of your Torah. Amen and amen. Yevarechecha Yahuwah ve'yishmerecha Ya'er Yahuwah panav elecha v'chuneka Yisa Yahuwah panav elecha V'yasem lecha shalom. Yahuwah bless you and keep you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon you and give you shalom. So, shalom family, I'm going to leave you with one of the songs we're working on. It's called, actually this song is called Parable of the Vineyard. We're working on the lyrics now and the tempo and everything. It's going to be a song of reflection, and it's actually why I named this channel Parable of the Vineyard. It's a song of reflection in that we know that the original tenants of the vineyard were kicked out because they were not keeping the Torah, and they were not bringing forth the fruits in their due season. So now that the vineyard has been given to us, what are we going to do with it? Are we going to follow the footsteps of those that transgressed before us? Or are we going to do what's right in Yahuwah's eyes? Just like when you read the book of Kings or Chronicles, they'll say, such and such king, he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuwah. Or such and such, he did that which was right in the sight of Yahweh, walking in all of his ordinances and his commandments and his judgments and his mercies. That's where I want to be. So, shalom, brothers and sisters. We'll see you in a few days. This coming week, I think we're going to do a reading out of the book of Maccabees. Instead of our normal Revelation weekly live stream. So stay tuned and shalom.
I sing to Yahuah, for he is highly exalted. The horse and its rider he has thrown into the sea. Yah is my strength and song, and he has become my deliverance. He is my El, and I praise him, Elohim of my father, and I exalt him. Yahuah is a man of battle, Yahuah is his name. He has cast Pharaoh's chariots and his army into the sea, and his chosen officers are drowned in the sea of reeds. The depths covered them, they went down to the bottom like a stone. Your right hand, O Yahuah, has become great in power. Your right hand, O Yahuah, has crushed the enemy. And in the greatness of your excellence, you pulled down those who rose up against you. You sent forth your wrath, it consumed them like stubble. And with the wind of your nostrils, the waters were heaped up. The floods stood like a wall, the depths became stiff in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I pursue, I overtake, I divide the spoil, my being is satisfied on them. I draw out my sword, my hand destroys them. You blew with your wind, the sea covered them, they sank like lead in the mighty waters. Who is like you, O Yahuah, among the mighty ones? Who is like you, great in Kodeshah, awesome in praises, working wonders? You stretched out your right hand, the earth swallowed them. In your kindness, you led the people whom you have redeemed. In your strength, you guided them to your Kodesh dwelling. Peoples heard, they trembled, anguish gripped the inhabitants of Pelasheth. Then the chiefs of Edom were troubled, the mighty men of Moab. Trembling grips them, all the inhabitants of Canaan melted. Fear and dread fell on them by the greatness of your arm. They are as silent as a stone, until your people pass over, O Yahuah. Until the people whom you have bought pass over. You bring them in and plant them in the mountain of your inheritance, in the place, O Yahuah, which you have made for your own dwelling. The Mikdash, O Yahuah, which your hands have prepared. Yahuah reigns forever and ever.